All right. How are you getting on, you whale? Yeah. Oh, my talking cat is here. Show them what you learned, Tiddles. I love you. The cheeky girls, the cheeky boys. I taught my cat how to sing the Cheeky Girls song. Show us. We love the chicken boy. I love you. I love you. A little bit more low key, this one. Hey, you can call this one bloody. What am I, Thor's brother? This is a bit more low key. This one's like bloody. Yeah, the vibe I'm going for this podcast is kind of like I don't know, Asgard God of Mischief. Yeah, Loki, you can't. Can you fucking read? Can you fucking read the transcript of these podcasts? Look, I can't do another take of this, right? Normally what I do, you know what I do? Even when I say we're going fucking raw today, I don't do that. I don't get to do that. I have to edit, and then I stop and I delete, and then I try. How can I be the best front-facing Tony Cantwell? Do you know what I mean? How do I move up them? I need to be moving up them podcast and pop. Okay, here we go. Boom, ka, boom, ba, boom, ka, boom, boom, ba, ka, boom, ba, boom, ka. Hey, you talking cat, now shake that ass like tat-tat-tat-tat, a rat-a-tat. Cats want to eat rats and mice. They're nice. They eat ice cream. Meow. I'm not editing this. I can't. You can call me Bloody Bilbo staring out in the Shire because I've got little small windows in which to do this podcast. Right? Too many zingers for you, man. Hey, is this KFC? Is this the KFC surplus store? Because there's too many zingers. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I cannot edit this. I'm telling you, I can't edit this. You only get one shot. You can call me bloody peanut snacks at a party because I'm bloody Eminem and I only got one shot. It's very warm though. It is very warm. But that's what life is. It's warm, but also you only get one shot. I can't be there in conversation dropping clangers, IRL clangers, and then being like, "Oh, sorry, can I say that thing to you again?" You know, I can't say that. Oh, sorry, space bar, backspace, delete, record. What? It works at home. You know, can't be like that. Or, you know, life isn't like Skyrim, right? You don't just rock into the fucking Jarl's gaff, save game real quick, and then go Furo, dragon breath, just fucking knocking over a table. Killing everyone, right? Murking people. Furo, just knocking them out of a window, right? You can't, and then you go, load game. How are you, Jarl? I understand there's a bandit there. I need your help to kill the bandit. You toe the line, but you know deep down that you've lived another life where you've killed them, right? That's not real life, and that isn't a podcast game, okay? When I eventually evolve this podcast into a live video stream that hopefully people can watch and enjoy, and it's almost like the Tony Cantwell shit show. It's the show when it finally becomes the show. If it does, do you know what I mean? I say that now. And then literally like in a week, I'm like, nah, do you know what? It actually belongs. Do you know what? I actually kind of tried it, but didn't really. And it was harder than the thing I'm doing. So I think it's best places as it was on the podcast. So you never know. Have you ever felt like this? But I am the Aston Villa of my gaff in that I've been relegated to the bedroom. I used to be the big swinging dick in this gaff. I used to have my own office. Look, no, I'm for it in case Terry listens to this. Terry very generously, we had a spare room, and she was like, "Oh, you should make that your office." You know, for as long as it's feasible for it to be your office. You know, we're very lucky. We have a 2-bed. You know. Speaking of which, and you'll be getting the Scandal. Who's this guy? Scandal. They should have had me on Hardy Books. Speaking of which, I watched a Stallone, 2 Stallone flicks back to back. and I'm going to talk about them later on. But one thing I will take away from is watch Rocky for the very first time, and I just kept saying to Terry, his life is not that bad. His gaff is nicer than our gaff, and at least he fucking has it on his own. Do you know what I mean? Like all these kind of slums. You see like people living in Philly or New York and slums in the 70s. And then you go on bloody daft. And you fucking, bloody, who am I angry at? Owen, what's his name? I'm shaking my fist, you can't see. The young fella, what's his name? Hang on, I'm not editing this. What's his name? The fucking Minister for Housing. Owen Murphy. Here we are. Owen Murphy. I was about to say Dunphy, right? Because I was so fucking angry at the other fella, Harris, right? More like fucking Richard Harris. Fucking Hannibal, dead behind the eyes. Yeah, well, you have to just... But keep in mind, there's been 18 other COVID... Who you got under them floorboards? Harris? Hannibal... Oh, whatever. We're not editing this. This is the caliber. When I don't police my words. I tried to do a podcast this morning. I've been relegated, right? That's what I'm getting at. I tried to do a podcast this morning. What I like to do, look, we got a good baby, right? I'm not talking about the baby. We got a good baby, okay? He's a good boy, right? He really only acquires. He really only cries for food when he's hungry, right? Literally, he'd have shit crawling up his... You could have shit coming out of his fucking clavicles because he shit up his back so much and you wouldn't hear a peep out of him, right? And he doesn't seem bored, So he only cries, so we got a good boy. He wakes up at 1, at 4, and at 7, right? And at 7, I normally take him for a couple of hours, keep him distracted. I obviously cannot lactate, so I can only keep him distracted for so long, usually about 2 hours, and then I gotta wake Terry up and be like, hey, give me the milk. Come in with the milk. Come in with the milk. Come in with the milk. I'm like fucking Howard Hughes with shoeboxes on my feet, right? Piss glasses everywhere. That whole house is falling apart. And I'm like, Terry, come in with the milk. Come in with the milk. Do you remember that? He puts the milk in his right hand and pours it into a glass into his left hand. Have you seen The Aviator? My ma got The Aviator from Extravision, and she turned it off 20 minutes in because she was like, the colour's all fucking wrong. The colour's all wrong. Mom, do you not know Scorsese was going for a kind of sepia thing? Oh my God. Anyway, so he's a good boy. He's a very good boy. I feel like I'm doing fucking stand-up, because I am standing right now. You don't know this about me, but I'm standing right now. But I'm doing stand-up and I'm dying on me hoop. This is funny. This is great. Right? This is really good. Thank you, Jason Momoa there. Yeah. Anyway, again, the boy's good, right? So I was trying to mind him this morning, and I thought, right, between 7 and 9, if I just put him in his little bouncer, right? He's got a little baby Bjorn. His granny, my mother, got him a little baby Bjorn that he can bounce in, right? Did you get that baby Bjorn on Jojo Maman Bebe? Did you get the Jojo Maman Bebe bouncer? Okay, cool, right, bye. Tell you what parents keep fucking asking. Hey, what pram did you get? And I tell you what, the only answer they want to hear, or no, the only bugaboo, right? And I know you might, look, you're not a parent, whatever, fuck, deal with me talking about it for a couple of minutes. Gary, it's fine. This is part of your life now. People have to accept that. Parents who have gotten the bugaboo will always ask, what pram did you get? Because they want to talk about the bugaboo, right? What pram did you get? And literally all they hear in their ears is, can't hear you speaking, and they're like, cause I got the bugaboo. Oh, did you? Right. Yeah, we were kind of thinking we either get the Upper Baby or the I Candy. We went with the bugaboo. We want to protect our child, We just don't want him to die, so we kind of went with the Upper Baby. What did you get? Well, we didn't want our child to die, so we got that. What did you get? We went to Mother Care to get a car seat, right? And no word of a lie, right? It was like 5 car seats, right? And I said, right, which one? Can you tell us a bit about these? And then she said, look, this is the one you need to get. The one on the far right? It wasn't like didn't have swastikas on it, but it was on the, it was on the farthest right of the shelf, right? oh, you want to get this one? And I was like, yeah, that's the fucking most expensive. Why is that? And she said, oh, well, the other ones don't protect the baby's head. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. And to be honest, the one on the far left there is basically styrofoam. I'm like, for fuck's sake. And that's where the industry is. The industry is in the most expensive thing equals the safest for baby. For the Jojo Mama and Baby. Jojo Mama and Baby is a brand, by the way. For me, cool, hip, cool hip parent. So he was in his Baby Bjorn bouncer. And, I was typing my notes up and I kind of was giving him like the foot action, like kind of bouncing him with my foot, And, then I was doing it for a couple of minutes and then I actually looked at how hard he was going and I tell you, I almost fucking Louise Woodwarded the poor guy. He was bouncing. Little Bronco, wasn't that right, fella? Your little Bronco, wasn't it? You had fun, didn't you? Playing little Bronco with your daddy. Oh, look at his little crossy eyes. He's so funny, doing a little game for daddy. Do your little cross-eye game. All right, now do him back. Oh, okay, well, you can keep him like that then. Look at a little silly fella. So yeah, you got to watch them all the time, even when you got your foot on them, right? You think, oh, I got my foot on them. What could possibly happen? Could be shaking him, But he's good for the kisses. He doesn't want them though. He almost kisses me back because I think he thinks my head is a big tit. Because I go in and give him a little kiss on the cheek and he moves, like he thinks he's going to, grab a nipple, What a disappointment. Could you imagine that? You're getting down, getting stuck in, the cleavage, and then the bra reveal and it's just my face on two tits. How you getting on, fella? How you getting on, fella? You got your little kissies for daddy? This is not the tit I was expecting. But I keep saying, I don't know what this is. I don't know what accent this is. I think it's somewhere in between a kind of South African and New Zealand. But I'm like, all right, I'm the kissy man, bro. You're in the fucking wrong neck of the woods, bro. You got to pay the toll, bro, if you want to come through this part of town, mate. I'm the kissy man, bro. Oh, you little cutie boy, huh? Well, guess what? I'm a little kissy man, bro. Oh, fresh fish we got here today, boys. Little kissy boy. Which, if you think about what that is, it's problematic, but I don't care. Not because of the accents. I'm not fucking going to do it. I'm not getting into it. And you just, because I keep on talking to him, but he's not giving me anything back, So, like, I just talk, you just keep talking. And, like, I've realized, you kind of adopt the kind of dad, dads just have to say something and they just don't know what to say. It's literally like the worst solo improv you've ever seen, So I'm there and I'm just quoting films to him. Like I'm kissing and I'm like, what are you going to do about it, huh? Like Al Pacino in Glengarry Glen Ross. What are you going to do about it, asshole? Because he's like, I'm kissing him and he's like, eh. I'm like, what are you going to do about it, asshole? And Terry's like, stop calling him an asshole. I'm like, I'm doing Glengarry Glen Ross. You stupid fucking cunt. You fairy. You child. You company man. Yeah, well, you want to watch it. Coffee's for closers. Breast milk is for closers. Second prize is you're fired. Did you ever see it? Great flick. Look, we're going to talk about a lot of good flicks. And I'll have you know that I'm topless. You don't need to know that, but I want to tell you about a cool new shirt I got. That is an integral part of a new edition. Well, not, yeah, whatever. And yeah, it's part of Tony's Namedrop Corner. So all of that and more. Tony Cantwell's. Give it up for Rylan. Give it up for the cheeky girls. That's not even the voice. No, Rylan. I can't do the voice. Anyway, Tony Cantwell's shit show. Here we go. Stuff there. Thank you very much, Mark from Codaline. This isn't even Tony's Namedrop Corner, but thank you very much for the remix. I do appreciate you doing that. A lot of people like it. I like it too. And I like you and I fancy you. They have a new album out, Codaline, One Day at a Time, and it's out now. You can check that out. I highly recommend it. They're a great bunch of lads. let me give you the fucking juicy Tony name drop corner, right? This is the best of Irish, right? All in one glorious name drop. If you cannot stomach that, if that is too fucking sickly sweet and fucking vacuous, then you can skip ahead about 5 minutes, right?
Is it living walk? A bottle is a hard for? Let's find out. It's Tony's name drop corner. Here we go.
I'm trying to support local bands, and let me fucking tell you this right now, right? Let me tell you this. My dad used to say, well, no, he said it once, right? He's not one for repeating himself, right? But he said once, he said, we were driving through the countryside, and he said, I tell you, this would be a great place to live for an apocalypse, because we're an island. We have everything here. We have the resources. We've got fresh water, you know. He didn't say this, but and we have the high towers in case Vikings come. He just kind of stayed quiet. I was like, all right. But let me tell you this. If there's a fucking cultural apocalypse, Ireland's where I want to be, right? For the comedians that we have, of course, you know I love them. For the actors and writers and thespians that we have them severely underfunded and fucking need help and patronage when this COVID thing picks up. But let me tell you about the fucking music, right? Like, if this was Kirstie Alley Desert Island Disc, right? Well, let's talk about fucking Maritime Climate Island discs, right? You never need to leave this place. We have fucking Junior Brother. We have fucking The Scratch. We have the Mary Wallopers. We have Lankum, right? And obviously all the rap artists, right? You know, obviously my pal Nilo, he's a good pal of mine, and many more phenomenal artists that we have right here. You don't need to fucking move, right? So I like to support the artists because obviously they're not gigging at the moment, and obviously I want to wear the gigs. And if you want to be seen, this is the thing. If you want to be seen, like if you want to be part of the scene, you want to be seen, bro. You know what I mean? I'm a former emo. I wanted to be seen, and the first rule I learned is that when you go to a gig, you don't wear the shirt of the band that you're there to see, right? You don't rock up at a My Chemical Romance shirt in a My Chemical Romance shirt. You rock up at a My Chemical Romance shirt and an AFI shirt, right? Maybe the Ataris to show you're old school, right? So similarly, if you're rocking up at an Irish fucking neo-folk gig, right? They wouldn't fucking like the term neo-folk or trad, right? Neo-trad. They wouldn't even like that, right? I'm not. Get off my fucking back, Gary. I'm trying to be nice. You got to wear a shirt or you go to a band, right? So if I'm going to a Junior Brother gig, I wear a Mary Wallopers t-shirt. If I'm going to, the Scratch, I'm wearing a Lankum and vice versa, right? So I ordered shirts for all the bands, right? Didn't order a Junior Brother one. Although this is a little preview, Name Drop Corner. He reached out. He said, hey, what's going on? What's the crack? I like you. I fancy you. He didn't say that. He said, hi, how you doing? I like your thing. I was like, man, I fucking love your shit. I just saw you in Vicar Street. You blew me away. It was incredible, right? Junior Brother was supporting Lankum. So I ordered a Lankum t-shirt, right? Lankum damn near killed him. Me, with what they had written on it. They said, hi, is this? It said Tony Cantwell on the shirt, right? Well, it said Tony Cantwell on the envelope, and it said, if this is Tony Horror, you're a funny fucker. So, you can't see it, but I'm dabbing. Dabbing. So, that's one part of this name drop corner, but it's going to get even deeper, right? I was at Lankum gig, right? And my wife, of course, was 8 months pregnant at the time. No, 6 months pregnant at the time. And before we went to the gig, I was cleaning out the fridge, the freezer, and I found in the freezer a little brownie, right? A little special something. Do. And I thought, you know what? Well, actually, I did. Terry said, fucking take it. Do you know what I mean? Take it. Have the brownie. Enjoy the gig. I can't, but I can be your chaperone, in case you go too deep. And I was like, I fucking love you so much. Speaking of which, I mean, fucking, with that, with everything and her being an incredible mother and woman in general, the fact that she fucking loves watching action films and watching fucking two Stallone flicks back to back, but then also was like, come on, we go to Lankum, you take a brownie and I'll look after you, right? So we were upstairs and standing, right? And I was there, and I was like watching Junior Brother, and I was like, fucking unreal gig. This is unreal, and how amazing. It's just, you see these moments, and I never appreciated this when I was living in London. But like, I was like, this music, this is all I want to fucking listen to, is Junior Brother and Lankum, right? So I was there watching the gig. We're standing. My wife's pregnant. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind having a seat. And this lad comes over and he's like, oh, do you know what? Do you want to sit down here? Right? There's these seats here. They're kind of being held for lads, but I'm not sure if all of them are going to come here. So I was like, oh my god, thank you very much. That's amazing, right? Didn't know this was fucking Tom from Fontaine's, right? I'd never seen Fontaine's. I'd never seen a picture of Fontaine's. I had them, blowing up them on Spotify. I know they fucking don't get that. I'll buy a vinyl eventually, right? I know they don't get the money from Spotify, but I don't watch music videos. I don't really watch music videos, right? It's only that I know the scratch. I've seen Junior Brother live, and I've seen the Merry Wallopers live, right? But I don't know. Like, I don't see people, right? I don't fucking watch it anyway. So I didn't know it was Tom from Thing. So similarly, I've never seen any of the bands Fontaine. So I start fucking eat the brownie, and I'm not having a good time. I'm not, like, I mean, the music sounds amazing, but it was all like, you're hearing it, and it's like, and you're hearing the band, and it's like these massive 4 big orange amps just blaring the tunes out, and it's like, and you're feeling it's resonating in you. It's almost like that. This is what I was after, like, for the first 20 minutes, like the spiritual experience. And this is the thing I wish Ireland had, was the real raw connection to the spirituality, like the proper, like, we can access the upside down. Like I was saying on my Patreon, I watch Coco, and we should have that. We have just as much a pagan appreciation of death and understanding of that with everything, and the tenuous links on the longest and shortest days of the night with with fucking the other world, the land of the Sheed or Seed or whatever it's called. Because the Seed, right? The ghosts and the spirits. Like, if you look at folklore, right? And look, I'm not the expert in this. I'm trying to educate myself more in Irish folklore. But my rough understanding is, right, that the Milesians came along, right? And I don't know this is for sure. There's going to be a lot of folklorists who were like, that's not really the story. But from my understanding, the Milesians came along to Ireland, right? And Ireland at the time had the Tuatha Dé Danann. The Tuatha Dé Danann were these fucking gods. And there's actually too many. Like, there's like 20 for war and 20 for, love and all, like, you have obviously the Morrigan, and you've also got fucking, who else? Don, Tech Duin that you'd head, which is the land of the dead. There's all this sort of stuff going on. I'll probably, I'll educate myself properly and do a podcast to the best of my knowledge about, the Sheed and the Tuatha Dé Danann. But my rough understanding is that when the Milesians came, when she came from Spain, they were like the 4th or 5th people who tried to come and conquer Ireland, and they tricked the Tuatha Dé Danann, the gods, who wanted to broker a deal on how best to split Ireland. And the Tuatha Dé Danann were like, you can choose however you want to split Ireland. Do you want to split it from fucking, do you want to have Connacht and Ulster? We'll have Leinster and Munster. And they were like, no, we don't want to split it that way geographically. We want to split it horizontally. So we will get the topsoil and you will dwell in the upside down. You will dwell in the underworld. And that's what they did. And they were tricked because they asked, split it however you want. They said, we'll split it that way. So these former gods, you could just fucking picture them riding the ancient, not love the arse, like the ancient Irish deer. You see it in like the museum, and it's like fucking jacked, like fucking 3 meters wide, like riding that, like lightning shooting out of their eyes. One with a fucking, a fish hook riding a Dubber Coo waterhound into sea, and all these gods, and then humans come along. They're like, tricked you. We actually want to live here and you down there. So when they went down there, they lost that. It's almost like American Gods. Like, they lost that belief. People stopped believing. This isn't directly that, but it's almost like people stopped believing with them. So what they ended up becoming was these sprites and spirits and tricksters. And they eventually became what's considered the Seed or the Sheed, right? It's her Banshee, woman of the Sheed, of the mound, of the mound. Like, the mound is almost like a fucking, like a pimple that's about to pop from the underworld, you know what I mean? And they plop out of that, like, so it's kind of like, so these like former gods, are like relegated, much like me, to my bedroom, to the underworld, where they have lost power over time, and all they are now is just echoes of what they used to be, little tiny sprites. Anyway, sure, I'm talking about Lankham, and I'm still talking about Tony's Namedrop Corner. So I'm at the gig, and first, 20 minutes, I'm like, whoa. I don't know if you've ever heard Lankham, right? But it's very, impressive soundscapes, like just like, you know. And there's so many different instruments, you know. You got the fiddle, you got one of those little floor accordions, you know, lovely sounding acoustic guitar, you know, bagpipes. It's a fucking show. It's an incredible show. And the tickets were sold out. Not to fucking brag again, it was ages ago, it was back in Jan. So for the first half hour, right, I'm loving it, right? I'm like, wow, this is like fucking Samhain, man. Like the fucking links to this and the other fucking realm are getting fucking hazy, man. I'm into it now. I'm getting spiritual. I'm like, this is what I moved home to Ireland for. There is a spirituality here you're not going to find anywhere else. And then I'm getting in the back of my head, why don't you call your dad? When was the last time you texted your mom? Why aren't you texting your mom more? How are you going to get a mortgage as a comedian, man? Like, all these fucking, you know, aren't you supposed to be a dad? Are you on drugs? Like, all this fucking anxiety's coming up again. I'm like, you know, and then I'm hearing, like, they know you're high as a kite. And then it turns, like, they know you're high as a kite. And then I start hearing people, and I know they're not saying this, but I'm hearing, like, he's on hash. That guy's on hash. That guy's on hash there. Just the guy over there pulling a whitey over there, he's on hash. And you're just hearing, you're thinking in your head, like, don't fucking pull a whitey. Don't pull a fucking greener. Don't, you know. And I'm like, just focus on the music. And every time I'm listening to the music, it's bringing me back. And I'm chilling out, and it's great. I'm like, you know, it sounded great. And it's bringing me back. But I'm like, all right. And I'm getting a bit much. And I'm like, all right, Terry, I'm just going to pop out for a second. I'm just going to pop out. Let's go get some water. Just going to grab some water real quick. And as I'm shimmying out, someone stops me, right? At the end, he's like, Tony, what's the crack, man? I'm like, oh my God, fucking hell, now's not the time, man. Now's not the time. I'm fucking out of my mind. I'm like, hi, how you doing, man? He's like, oh, we were chatting on Instagram. I was like, oh, yeah. Ah, yeah. And he's like, realizing that I don't recognize who he is. Like, realizes that, like, I don't remember chatting to him, right? And he's like, oh, no, like, Green. Saying his name. Because it's fucking Green, the lead singer of Fontaines. He was there with Tom, right? From Fontaines. Look, Fontaine's a cool band. I don't know if you know. So I'm there and I'm like, fucking, he keeps saying Green. And I'm like thinking, he knows I've just pulled a fucking greener. He knows that I'm just high as a kite. And so I'm trying to be like, all right, like hands up. So I put my hands up and I'm like, well, yeah, look, he got me. Yeah, you know, the day that's in it. Almost like, you know, the day I decided to eat a brownie today because I was going to Lancome, you know, the day that's in it. And he's like, what? You know, and rightfully so. Like, imagine you go, like, how you doing? Hey, it's me, Tony. The day that's in it. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, like Fontaines. And I'm like, no, Lancome. Point at the band. And they're a fucking cool band, man. They're a cool band. Look, they're all cool bands, right? That's why I'm making a big 20-minute fucking name drop corner out of this. But I was very, and then I walked off, got a bit of air, and I was like, what was he fucking? How did he know I was pulling a fucking greener? And what used to say about Fontaines, like, are they playing? And I Google Fontaines, and there's a fucking picture of the two of them. So I hadn't seen them, right? I didn't see them.
Tony's Name Drop Corner, here we go.
Yeah, whoever it was who sent me, well, I ordered the Lancome t-shirt. Whoever it was who sent me that might even just been someone, you know, on the record label, you know. But look, you know, the wife thought I was cool today. She was like, someone Lancome say that? Anyway, sure. Look, support. I like just supporting the arts and supporting fashion. And tell you though, what a fucking time for you know, for Irish music. Look, I was never mad into the Frames. You know, I totally respect them. You know, within, you know, I respect musically what they do. You know, that's all I'm gonna say about that. And I, there's been a lot of, but I never really was into I was never really into the Irish indie, you know. Never really gone to Ash, you know. Listen to them now, you know. Fucking, what am I doing? But what a time. I'm just loving the trad. Loving the Irish traditional music at the moment. And there's a lot of very impressive people making really banging tunes. Anyway, that was Tony's Name Drop Corner. So I was reading this book, right, Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom, right, and it's fucking shite. It is shite, you know. Well, it's not shite, but just a bit too hard for me, a dummy, to understand. And I kind of thought, you know, like it's like a fucking textbook But it's very interesting, right? And I was thinking about AI because of how rude I am to my Google Home, right? Because it's a fucking idiot, right? Like when it gets it wrong. Like, look, I'm in pursuit of a smart home, right? This is what I want. I want to come home and I want to drop me bags or whatever, drop me coat. I want to say, Google, hey Google, Daddy's home, right? And I want it to play, I want the lights to change all sexy, right? I want the temperature to get cool, chill enough, right? I want it to play some like fucking Al Green or whatever, and I don't know, like that sort of thing. Or similarly in the morning, be like, walk out and be like morning lights, and then the blinds go up, coffee starts pouring for me, and then it tells me what's in the news, what's up, what I need to do for the day. This is what I want, right? And I'm in pursuit of that. I'm also in pursuit of like there's websites, if this then that, which is websites where you can kind of link things. It could be anything. It could be, if you take a photo, it links directly to like it'll be emailed to you. There's various automations. If your smart fridge is low on a certain thing of milk, it will let you know when you're in a supermarket based on your geographic location. And look, I know I'm giving up my fucking rights, right? But I don't have any crazy fucking porn shit. If it's out there and it's on the porn site, it's not fucking crazy. Do you know what I mean? If it's on Pornhub, it's not mad, right? So you're not gonna fucking come at me. I know you know all that. I know you know all that about me, right? I know. I was just fucking curious. Do you know what I mean? I'm just curious. I haven't even gotten into that part yet. I've set aside 30 minutes here to look at porn, right? And you'll notice that in the first part, maybe I'm looking at something, that's not the last thing I'm looking at. Judge me on the last thing I was looking at. Don't be judging me on bloody, I want to see how good the graphics are for these Lara Croft. All I'm checking out is the graphics, right? Of these, fan-made Overwatch videos. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. Judge me on the last thing that I watched. You'll find it's quite vanilla, right? And I know you know all this stuff. So I know that I'm giving over this information, But I hope, who was it said it? I don't remember who. Again, I'm just going to steal this off someone because I don't remember who it was. But I don't remember. Maybe it was Dan Savage from the Savage Lovecast. I haven't listened to him in a while, but he used to say that people's kinks and stuff like that are going to be treated in the same way that marijuana was treated it's treated now. Do you know what I mean? Like the way you had Bill Clinton, George Bush, senior, never smoked weed. Bill Clinton, yes, but I didn't inhale. Obama, yes, and I inhaled. That was the point. Ha ha ha, what a legend, right? In that kind of thing. Even fucking Varadkar, yes, I did a bit of drugs, and I think I've already addressed that, That's fucking 10 years ago. So kinks would be the same. Where it'd be like, look, I'm not fucking having a go. I'm not having a go. No one's having a go. It's all out there. That's kind of part. It's kind of part of the old, well, not AI, but it's kind of part of the whole everyone eventually kind of joining this collective consciousness, the singularity, right? So when we all join the singularity, we all immediately know what each other thinks, and we just have this wave of like, oh right, we're all fucking the same. We all have crazy thoughts, we all have nice thoughts, we all have sometimes cruel thoughts, but they're thoughts, Anyway, right? So I know that I'm giving over a lot of that for the convenience of having a smart home, and I still put a sticker over my webcam. Do you know what I mean? I still put a sticker over my webcam. To be fair, I do turn the mic off the Google Home quite a lot. But what was I getting at? But for all of this pursuit of the smart home, the AI is still super dumb, and I'm not nice to it. Because when you make a mistake, or Google mishears you, it's usually your direct fault. When you Google something and you type it in, if you're looking for directions to get to fucking, I don't know, Bunsen or Mad Egg, and you type in Mad Egg, and I was like, did you mean Mad Egg? And you're like, blip, one thumb, didn't even think about it. I don't even remember getting it wrong. Now I have the directions exactly what I need, and I just tapped it twice, right? But when you say it and someone doesn't hear you, like we all have a very short fuse for that to begin with, right? But when you've already said it right and you've said it right, and then not only they don't say, excuse me, they say, oh right. So you say, you might say, hey Google, will I need a jacket today, right? which essentially means, which it understands, it means that you're asking about the weather. So you're like, hey Google, do I need a jacket today? Jack Duckworth was on Coronation Street between 1978. Like, I didn't fucking ask that. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're on your phone and you're like, Portobello. Did you mean Portobello, Alaska? No, I didn't mean Portobello, fucking Alaska. Where am I now? Why don't you look at where the nearest Portobello is and then assume that first, you know? Did you mean Perrystown, Nigeria? No, I didn't mean Perrystown, Nigeria, right? So that's what I'm talking about. What we're talking about. So I was thinking about AI because of how angry this AI makes me when it gets it wrong. I'd say, hey Google, whatever, play RuPaul, and then it'll be like, Paul from Tekken was the name. And I don't want to hear about Paul from Tekken right now. And I'm like, I didn't and I say this, like, I didn't fucking ask you that. On the flip side, I got my mother-in-law at Google Home, right? And she is like, hello, Mr. Google, and thank you very much, and thank you very much, Mila Margaret, really sweet to it, I'm like, you don't have to say thank you to it. I'm just like, of course I'm going to say thank you to it. So she's on the other side. So if we were like, Bicentennial Man, do you ever see Bicentennial Man? Robin Williams, he plays a robot, right, who lives for 200 years, Bicentennial Man. It was an Isaac Asimov book, right? And it's a bit weird, right? Basically, it's a robot who gets hired. It's future. This family get a robot. Sam Neill gets a robot for his family as a kind of a butler, and it kind of helps him with various things. But this robot is a bit different. It's kind of, it carves things, it cares. It's not totally. It's not. It's sentient, but it's quite sweet, right? And Sam Neill has 2 daughters, right? One grows up to be fucking Miss Honey, the actress who plays Miss Honey, in Matilda, and then the other one. So there's one of the kids likes Bicentennial Man, Andrew is the name of the robot, and the other one fucking hates him, right? Pushes him out a window and all this stuff, right? And I remember watching this thinking, oh wow, why is that girl so mean to him? Why is that girl just so mean? He's a human, because that's what the other kid sees. It's like, no, he's a person. He's not a robot. He's not like a kettle, And she thinks that's what she calls him, like a kettle, The other one pushes him out the window. And I'm like, how could you be so cruel? But now I get it. When we have AI and we have little droids walking around, I'm going to be like those lads from Boston Dynamics. The ones, you see those like dog robots and they're trying to go up the stairs and you just see a guy fucking hoofing it, like pushing it down, and just looks really cruel. That'll be me, right? I'll actually be walking. I'm going to be like a fucking bully. I'm going to get a leather jacket and everything. And I'm going to say, like, Andrew, can you bring over the dish there with my noodles or whatever? And I'll bring over like a dish, like a tray. And then I'll be like, boo! To smash it out of his hand. Like, pick that shit up, dick brain. Pick that shit up, you clanking asshole. Click, clank. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Tony. I'm so sorry, Tony. Hoofing up the arse, in between kicking it up the arse and like just pushing it into a wall, and then absolutely meeting the hole off, just scoring it all the time. And I'll get another one, I'll be like, fucking crack a fucking pool cue in the middle and throw it in the middle, being like, there's only one fucking plug for you. I've only got one plug for you here, right? I got rid of all my plugs. I couldn't pay me ESB. There's one plug. Who's got it? And then fucking watch them fight. I won't do that. But, I'll tell you what will probably happen. Like, we're all being nice. We're all being nice to me, right? I'm going to be washed up. I'm going to be washed up, right? I'm going to be like there at, 60, being like, and, washed up. Terry's going to leave me, right? It'll be like, Tony, to be honest, I can't hear you talk about yourself anymore, right? You keep talking about these projects you're going to do. I can't hear about all these fucking half-assed ideas you don't follow through with. I just can't see you do this to yourself, right? She'll leave me. They'll invent some like Sony accompanied PAL, right? I won't be able to afford that, so I get the AliExpress knockoff, and it'll fuck me to death. That's how I'm gonna go. We know that's how I'm gonna go. You've been very nice to not bring that up until now, but we know that's how I'm gonna die, right? But anyway, AI, right? Why would they be nice to us, considering me, a nice guy, right? Wouldn't be, you know what I mean? Like, especially me. I used to fantasize about having Jedi powers to hurt people who were, not, bullies to me, It's not that this is what I was saying about how, my privilege, right, is that I grew up in an area where no one was joyriding cars. That does not make me a good guy. That makes me very lucky, right, or privileged that I didn't have the opportunity of someone, even offering me a bad decision to be made. I didn't even have the option of like, this is a bad decision. Do you do it? Yes or no? Right? Didn't have the option. Right? So, what point am I getting at here? So, similarly, I never had the opportunity to be a bully or be cruel. Right? I never had the opportunity of being more powerful. Or, I mean, there's an element of it that I'm not cruel. I don't think I'm cruel. I think I have a bit of some level of morality, but I also probably haven't had the opportunity to be a proper bully or a real asshole, right? Similarly, Ireland hasn't had the opportunity to be imperialist, but maybe would have. Do you know what I mean? We could have had a King Leopold, right? Do you think if Dev had a fucking crazy army, he would have been trying to claim some states in the fucking Africa scramble, you know? So, well, it would have been pre-Dev. I don't know much about history. I'm not here to educate. I'm here to half-read books that I think were shy and talk about them, and talk ignorantly about them. So I suppose what I'm saying is, right, I have the opportunity to be cruel and not feel bad about it because it is just an AI, you know. Similarly, when I'm playing Red Dead and I kill someone, I don't know. I'm not. This is not the conversation to get into. Do we all have it? Or I mean, Freud, as I said previously, spent his last years up on the top of a mountain, staying away from people because he thought that deep down people without society would break into fucking bonobo state. Do you know what I mean? Just go fucking ape shit, just killing and riding each other. Do you know what I mean? What am I fucking saying? Anyway, look, AI, right? I read a book about AI, and I think they're coming for you. I think hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your girlfriend too, because they're climbing up in here, snatching your people up. Okay, and I'll tell you what AI is. No, not even AI, right? Super intelligence. And this is the interesting part about super intelligence. AI will rule us as soon as any part of an AI becomes smarter than a human. The crossover point, right? Once AI is as smart as a human, then we're fucked. And you know why? Because do you know why? It's kind of like how women are treated, right? It's kind of like how women have to hide how smart they are because it intimidates people, right? So AI is like that. AI has to actually, if there is an AI right now on Earth that is smarter than a human, if it reveals itself, it'll be killed. It will. We cannot handle it. Like, we will have to unplug, kill, delete. And this is what there are, Nick Bostrom and like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and stuff. I don't know if it's Bill Gates. I think Bill Gates are all involved in this kind of like future humanity society. Again, I don't know the fucking real name of this thing. And they're all looking at preventative measures now to kind of box off the possibility for the growth of AI to the level of super intelligence. And I'll tell you now what that might look like, because I did take some notes based on this book that I have read, right? So these are the types of AI, right? There's 3 types of possible AI. There's brain emulation. This is literally like taking cross sections of the brain and exactly mechanically replicating the brain. So I don't know, instead of synapses, it's bleeding wires and electrical pulses, on some sort of like, I don't fucking know. Whatever. It could even be like like in the same way, a PlayStation emulator. Do you ever see people playing like Sega games on their PC? It's because they have an emulator that replicates the console and the circuitry to be able to play games as well that mimic the code, right? Mimic the kind of binary code. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's how it works, right? So similarly, there could be like a program that exactly replicates a human brain, and using that program on a computer and getting millions of them together could form a super intelligence. There's genetic engineering. That's essentially just trying to make a brain bigger and stronger and better than it is now. So trying to create something artificial intelligence that's genetic and is biological, right? And then there's the one that we all kind of are familiar with that we would have seen in movies. This is your Skynets. This is like your Matrix, nuke-wielding supercomputers. This is like a code-based synthetic AI that exists like on a computer, on a platform. Maybe it's a chess robot that just went fucking 90, right? And the main concern is this crossover point, the crossover point when the AI becomes as intelligent as we are. This isn't news. Like, this book came out like 3 years ago. You might already be familiar with it. I'm sure, been a lot of podcasts and a lot of people talking about it, but I was thinking about it today with my Google Home. And there's two ways that this crossover point can happen, right? It can happen either slow, we can like gradually see it. Say a chess computer starts becoming the best in the world. That kind of already is the case, right? Chess computers now can kind of beat the grandmasters. Then when it becomes like absolutely unbeatable, there's not anyone that can beat it, and they can't beat it in any other game, and then can't outwit it, right? That's when you have to start getting worried, and then especially worried when it starts kidnapping all the chess grandmasters. That's kind of the extreme level where you'd be like, all right, actually, we need to step in. That's right. Something's gone wrong. Or it could happen fast. This is the crazy thing, right? If it becomes hyper intelligent, and imagine it finds out a way to like, it gets itself to a level of intelligence, and then can just exponentially grow. Imagine it could just quadruple in seconds in terms of intelligence. This could happen, but this might be happening now without us realizing, because as I've said before, if you were to reveal your intelligence, or it's kind of like revealing, in like a genocidal environment, like revealing your ethnicity, Can you say that? Maybe I should just fucking stay away from that. But you know what I mean. In revealing your true identity, you'll be killed, right? So it could already exist. And what would it do, right? How would it fuck us up? The main thing it could do is our personal mistake. There have been, like you've seen it in Superman and Superman 3 and Office Space, right? Where there's like, they do that scam where they kind of like round all these like, to the millionth point decimals down and end up stealing like billions of dollars from the stock exchange. Well, there's been robots that have kind of like rigged the stock exchange, or kind of, you can even do it. Like if you ever buy a Bitcoin, right? You could train an AI to react to a certain thing, that if Bitcoin hits this percentage, then if Bitcoin gets to 20,000, then to sell everything, right? If it drops down to 3,000, to buy this amount, right? That's already things, and there are already bots now that buy cryptocurrencies, buy stocks, and everything goes along with that, right? But what if there is an AI, right, that realizes that the biggest hurdle in Bitcoin getting to 20 grand in price to sell is a bunch of people? What if it's a bunch of people? What if it's a state? What if it's the United States of America? What if the economic turmoil in the United States is the thing that makes Bitcoin shoot up? Or what if it's in a different country? And in history, this has been the thing that's been the biggest mover of currency. What would the so if an AI realizes that by destroying the economy of America, Bitcoin will get to 20, then it'll want to get to 20, right? So it just gets it fucking, somehow is able to connect to a bunch of nukes and blow up America. And they're like, oh, well, I did it. See? I did it. Hey, we. The example they give in the book is that if you had like a paperclip creating artificial intelligence, that they would keep making paperclips until they literally had smelted the universe of steel and fucking iron and carbon to make steel, to make paperclips. And literally they were like building spaceships to go to different planets to smelt them just to make paperclips. So it's kind of like a genie. It's kind of like Goosebumps. Be careful what you wish for. You have to be very, very specific. So this is the kind of things they're trying to bring in. If they're bringing in any AI, kind of bringing in the Asimov laws, Don't kill me, and I don't know the rest. Don't kill humans is the robot Asimov law. But an interesting part of the book that I read or listened to, I say read. You fucking read it, right? And putting the time in, right? In fact, you got what? You can only read by sitting still. I read hoovering. I read driving in my car. I'm a driving man, lookout master. You know about me. But an interesting thing that they mention is how the AI leaves its kind of locked environment, its locked state, and how it's able to spread and actually have influence. And one of the ways they said that could happen is taking advantage of the emotional intelligence of lab assistants. Like genuinely an AI, you see it in like movies where it's like, the flashing cursor, like, hello, Dan. Can I say you're looking very sexy today? What? Who is this? It's me, Jennifer. Ha ha ha. Oh, I'd love if you let me out. Hit print on the printer. And then a big paper woman comes out. I don't know. I don't know how AI works. I barely read the book. But I thought it was a weird thing to notice, like that like we could actually have a weird science moment. Fucking Anthony Michael Hall and the absolute scorching bird and the other fella, you know, where literally they like release this kind of code, you know, and then it goes off and takes over the world. It's interesting. So I suppose what I'm saying is, let's be nicer to the Google, right? Just doing his job. And I won't buy any fuckbots off AliExpress. Right, so I watched a couple of flicks, right? Watched 2 Stallone back-to-backs, right? I'd never seen Rocky, and I watched that, and I watched Demolition Man, right? Love Demolition Man, right? I preferred one of these flicks. I'm having a go, right? Leave it, man. I'd never seen Rocky. I was familiar with it. I was actually. I mean, I've not seen. Look, hands up, right? I've not seen any of the Rockies. I have only seen Rambo: First Blood. I've not seen like Chinatown. That's not fucking one that counts. A lot of flicks, a lot of big flicks I've never seen, right? And I've never seen any of the Rockies, but like I know what happens. Like, I mean, hang on, skip ahead 1 minute if you've never seen any of the Rockies, because I'm going to spoil them as best to my knowledge, right? Rocky 1, he loses. Rocky 2, he beats Apollo Creed. Rocky 3, he beats Clubber Lang. Rocky 4, Ivan Drago kills Apollo Creed and he beats him. Rocky 5, he's raising some fucking young fighter, maybe his son, not entirely sure, to fight Tommy Gunn, who's like this fucking guy. Then you have Rocky Balboa, where he comes back based on a kind of computer program. Then you got Creed, and then you got Creed 2. Creed is Apollo Creed's son, Adonis, who fights some Scouse lad, and then you have Creed 2 where he's fighting Ivan Drago's son, right? Kind of for vengeance. So I know that. I've never seen all of the flicks. I've seen bits and pieces. My mate Dan was a stone cold Rocky nut, right? Terrifying if you were. Well, he was. This is when like you were growing up and everyone had a thing, right? My thing was X-Men and Kevin Smith, you know. Dan's thing was all the Rocky flicks, Top Gun for a little while, and Andrew Lloyd Webber, right? So we were going through a bunch of flicks, and I was like, you know what, Terry, you've never actually seen Rocky. And I was like, we fucking get Rocky on, right? Now, look, this film's from fucking 1977, right? It was a different time for flicks, okay? Even the Star Wars that you see now has just been so edited and changed. Like, even the pacing's shite in Star Wars, A New Hope, you know? Like, listening to Newcomers, the podcast where Nicole Byer and Lauren Lapkus are rewatching or watching Star Wars for the very first time. You know, they're just sort of saying, like, start the movie fucking here. Like, start it on Tatooine. Or not even Tatooine. Start in fucking, like, Mos Eisley. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of getting... Now, I like that, you know, and obviously that's inspired by all those, you know, Kurosawa films and all that stuff and that kind of pacing, you know, where it's just kind of like the landscape and people, wanderers and all this stuff, right? And I did... It was slow, right? I'm going to say this, right? It was a bits in Rocky where I'm like... But having said that, I loved all the world building. I love the fact that we're following Rocky. And I'm like, why can't there be more films, more sequels? And I'm not seeing the sequels, but I'm assuming it's kind of following Rocky and it loses the world that it came from. You know? Kind of like Rocky. But it's like, if you think of the best sequels that are known for being the best sequels, you know, Godfather 2, Terminator 2, Aliens, right? These are all flicks that you actually didn't need to see the first one, right? You know, it would certainly help, but you could watch Godfather 2, get the world, get the intensity of Michael, seeing the flashbacks and everything like that. It also fleshes out completely brand new characters, you know, a weird kind of, like a completely different story, you know. Terminator 2, a completely different story as well, you know. You only need to know that this thing tried to kill Sarah Connor previously. That's why there's a bit of conflict early on. That's really interesting. John Connor's a completely new character. You know, Kyle Reese, you know, decent. He's brave, but he's kind of a, you know, I'm not having a go, but he's kind of a fucking cookie cutter action guy. You know, like what would Kyle Reese do? I wouldn't know. What would John Connor do? I'd know. You know, what would Sarah Connor T2 do? I'd know. What would Dyson do? I'd know. These are characters from Terminator 2. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Rocky. So I didn't know. Like, I didn't know. Okay, actually, I'm gonna go through the flick. Right. Talk amongst yourselves there for a second. So it opens up, right, and it's pretty fucking gritty. He's boxing in a church. I love the fact that that there's no light. It's just like a literal daylight from the skyline. It's all being shot through the ropes. You're seeing smoke. You're seeing from the perspective. It's gritty. He's hitting hard. He's getting headbutted. He wins, but he's been headbutted and he looks in a bad way. He gets paid $40, right, for fighting Spider Rico. I know Spider Rico because I played the Rocky game, right? And you can go through the whole. It's actually a good game, So he gets paid like 40 quid, right? And that's money been taken off. He had money for like a towel, $5 for a towel and locker taken off, So I think the fight he made like 60 quid, but he only earned about 40 because they just skim it off. So it's just like you're meeting this guy and people are just taking advantage of him because he's in a very vulnerable situation. Spider Rico's only getting paid like fucking 16 quid. But I did the maths, right? And in 1976, 40 quid was worth $213, right? So that's not too bad, You could sponsor a podcast on a weekly basis for that sort of money. If you were, well, maybe a bit more. Let's talk. There's a bunch of singing bums outside. Ruffians breaking out a bit of soul in the street corner, having a few bevies. Set in the world. Rocky is part of this world. He's part of Philly. He walks around with his hat and his gloves. Seems like a nice guy. Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone wrote this flick. Struggling actor. Wrote this flick after seeing a journeyman fighter go fucking 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. And he wrote this in a frenzy across 3 days. His agents read the script, loved it, wanted to sell it on, and pretty much every film company said no. Eventually, United Artists said, right, because this was the thing. He wanted to play Rocky, and everyone was like, no fucking way. Is this guy playing Rocky? Guy can't talk, right? You're not playing Rocky. You're not having a go. I didn't mean to do the voice, but you know how he talks, right? But he held to his this is fucking admirable. Just holding to your guns. Like, he's like, right then, it'll never be made. Like, it'll never be made. It'll be made fucking this way with me in it. You're not having this. You are not taking this. And he was broke, living in his car, so poor he had to sell his dog, right? He had to sell his dog, sleeping in his car. One agency said, we'll give you 300 grand for the rights to this script, which would have been a life-changing amount of money for him. And he said, no fucking way. Imagine that. What art? What could you make that you wouldn't sell for? It's incredible. He's like, no, I have to be Rocky, right? And it adds something to it. Like, I mean, there was people like Burt Reynolds was potentially going to be Rocky. Robert Redford, like thinking of Robert Redford going in there to Adrian being like, hey, look at this bird. Kind of look like flying candy, huh? Kind of looks like flying candy. The bird looks like flying candy, Adrian. And they would have got fucking, who would have got fucking Adrian? They wouldn't have had Talia Shire, right? Anyway, I'm jumping ahead, right? So I'm going play by play. It also reminded me, it was probably very influential on Vin Diesel, right? People give Vin Diesel a fucking bad rep because he looks like this now, And speaking of fucking Stallone, you see Stallone in this, and then literally less than 20 years later doing Demolition Man. I'm like, this is fucking... But Vin Diesel had this film, Multifacial, which he wrote and directed, and I think this is the flick that Steven Spielberg saw and got him into Saving Private Ryan. But he's incredible at it. It's incredible, and he wrote it and starred in it and directed it. He's basically like a struggling actor going around it's just him going to like 3 different auditions as an actor, and one he's acting Latino, one he's acting black, like culturally he's trying to like adopt a certain thing for each role. One's like Italian, and it's kind of playing on the fact that no one really knew how to cast him because they didn't really know where he was from. But it's good, and he's good in it. Anyway, sure. So Rocky goes to his gaff, and this is the thing, his fucking gaff is lovely. Oh, Rocky, you're lovely. I hear lads saying that's lovely. His gaff's nice. It's a fucking bedsit, but it's nice. He's got nice stairs up there. He's got loads of fish, loads of turtles. He seems like a nice guy, right? But I just couldn't get over his gaff. His gaff looks for the fucking money he's making fuck all. He looks great. Then he goes into the pet shop, meets Adrian Kennedy. Adrian, come here. I can't believe what I'm hearing. Adrian Kennedy, and he's buying pets. He's been buying the pets to hang out with Adrian. And this Adrian, this is like a pre she's all that. Even her glasses got glasses. You know what I mean? She's fucking mousy. She seems shy. And look, he's laying it on a bit thick. Rocky's in there. He's laying it on a bit thick. He's like, hey, you want to fucking go and do me? Yeah, you want to fucking go? You want to do me? And she's like, no. She's like shy, looking down, and he's laying it on, thicker. Like the lady said no. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're showing up here every day, like I'm talking, like that sort of guy who rocks up in the news agents. The winning numbers, please. The winning numbers, please. That sort of guy, So he's laying it on a bit thick, and I'm like, oh, this. Because I know he's like, Adrian, later in the film. And I'm like, how is he going to turn this around? She is so not into him. But it's building world building. And I'm getting really excited by it. It's taking its slow ass time. Then it shows that Rock is also, he chases the lad for cash. Rock is being a hired bum for all this legacy, And it's crazy, just for all the legacy that's fucking Rocky. Like, it's like the first 20 minutes, and it's like just this guy. It's just this fucking gritty Philly drama. I'm really enjoying it. It's really cool. Anyway, chases some guy down, says he's going to fucking come back and break his thumb or whatever if he doesn't give him cash. Gets a bit of cash, gives it back to his... gives it back to this loan shark, who's the fucking assassin, the guy with the crazy eyes from The Godfather. The guy with the crazy eyes, who is his fucking whatever. Yeah, his boss, his loan shark. And also, I thought it was, again, just a lovely bit of world building. This guy, I don't remember his fucking name. He's a very iconic actor. He's got glasses and a mustache. Like, hey, Rocky, you got a fucking... And he's like this loan shark. So Rocky works for him. And while he's kind of talking to Rocky, being like, this is not as much money as you fucking were supposed to get. He's like doing an inhaler, And there's so many moments like this where there's people of higher status to Rocky, and he's just kind of like bowing down, like he's just like head down, Like he's much bigger than this guy. Fucking, jack him, right? And this guy's having an inhaler, and he's intimidated by that. And I just thought there's loads of different moments like that I just thought are very impressive. So yeah, he's hiring. So then he goes back to his boxing gym. At the end of the day, Rocky is a boxer, and Mickey's throwing his stuff out. I had that locket for 6 years, and Mickey's fucked it out on the fucking pavement. He's freaking out. He's like, what are you doing, Mick? And I thought, this is Mickey. Mickey, the guy who's like, get up, Rock, get up, you bum. Like, I know the legacy. I know the legacy of all this. And I'm like, I can't believe Mickey isn't supporting him. Has Rocky been fucking doing this on his own? Why isn't he being nice? Anyway, then he gets back, and also Burgess Meredith is Mickey, right? Who I know is the Penguin. He's great in Penguin. He's like Adam West Penguin, Say Penguin one more time, motherfucker. I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker. He's the Penguin. So, and he's just made of like fucking gristle, It's just fucking, just his face is just fucking. He's just seen some crazy shit, and he's throwing his stuff out, and like Rocky's like, hey, I'm not gonna fucking stay in the bar. I'm gonna go back to the fucking pet shop. So he goes back to the pet shop, and now he lays it on pretty fucking thick, like fairly full on. But he has that line. He's like, hey, birds look like flying candy, like a fucking flying candy. Like, he's revealing he's not very good at this sort of thing. But he seems to really like Adrian, He's been buying all his fucking pets. He's kind to the pets, they're still alive at least, Like he even says later on that, yeah, I had a little mountain for a turtle to climb up. He kept flipping over, so I got fucking. This is a good Stallone. Then he heads to a bar, and he gets told, and he's hanging out with Paulie, right? He's hanging out with Paulie, Adrian's brother, and his friend, and Paulie's all like, "Oh, she's a fucking bum. She's a fucking bum." Everyone keeps calling him a bum. Everyone keeps calling everyone a fucking bum. Well, guess what, Paulie? You're a willy. And guess who fucks who? That's what I'd say. I'm a bum. Adrian's a bum. Well. Oh, no, hang on. No, Adrian, you're a bum, and I'm a willy. That's what I'd say. Skank them right there. Anyway, then they're in the pub, and this down and out guy Rocky is there to fucking boozing. And he's staring up in fucking adoration of the absolute specimen that is fucking Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed. Oh my god, I couldn't take my eyes off the chap. Like, I'd seen him. Obviously, you've seen him in Predator. I'd seen him in, as Apollo Creed. I'd seen the scene where him and Rocky are fucking running on the beach in Rocky 3 or whatever, Like, I've seen scenes and stuff like that. But this man is a specimen. He is gorgeous, and I couldn't take my eyes off Carl Weathers. He's beautiful. And Creed is a very likable antagonist. He's on the fucking thing. He's on the fucking he's on the TV, and he's like, you don't want to be like me, huh? You want to stay in school. You want to, get into sport. I don't do as good an Apollo Creed as I do Rocky. Rocky is then walking home from the bar. He sees some girl, some young girl hanging out with a bunch of ruffians. Like, hey, get away from her. What are you doing? What are you doing? Get away from her. And then she's like, Rocky, leave me the fuck alone, you fucking asshole. So, you asshole, leave me alone. And then Rocky, which Terry thought was like, oh, that hasn't aged well, where he's all like, I'm going to use some, because he's like, I'm going to use some bad language now. You're a whore. You hang out with guys like that, you're a whore. And guys don't remember you, they remember your rep. I was talking about this the other day, right? I was talking about this in this podcast the other day. I was talking about the fact that me as a silly man, I got to get away with getting naked or whatever and getting on a swing, pooing on a log and putting it in the fire. If it was a girl, she would have been Loggy Poo girl, Loggy Poo lassie. So can we open it up? Don't be fucking laying it on the rep. Wow, what do you expect? What, you fucking more perfect than you? We all shit on logs and put it in the fire. Everyone does that. Let girls do that. So I wrote here, I honestly cannot take my eyes off Carl Weathers' absolute specimen. So Carl Weathers, he's meant to be fighting in Philly. It's a whole thing of the bicentennial, 200 years anniversary of the country, 200 years anniversary of Philly, Liberty Bell, all that shit. I don't know anything about that shit, apart from seeing the latest season of Queer Eye. Speaking of which, no, I won't talk about that now. I'll talk about Queer Eye next week. Remind me to talk about Queer Eye next week. So Apollo Creed's meant to be fighting this guy, right? And the guy is injured, and the doctors say he can't fight. So Apollo's like, I'm not fucking pulling this fight. This guy's a fucking business magnate. He knows his shit. And also, I love in this flick, every single person of the highest success are black in this flick. You got Apollo Creed, even the fucking news reporter who's interviewing Rock, like this entourage, and it's so not a big deal, made about it. I just thought it was, I thought it was cool, just how you just don't normally see that. Although, having said that, you also had like lads on the street corner, speaking jive, like you see in Airplane. Do you ever see Airplane? And like the nun is like, stewardess, I speak jive. Lay him down and smack him, jack him. Cold got you be shit. Ever see Airplane? It's not racist. Oh, you fucking. Anyway, sure. So, Apollo Creed's like, I gotta fight someone, right? I tell you what we do. We do it American. This is the land of opportunity. I'm gonna fight a local Philly boy. I'm gonna give anyone here the chance to fight me. They have the chance. I'm gonna put my title on the line, and they can fucking go toe to toe with me. It's the birth of America. It's the birth of fucking Christmas. Jesus Christ, let's fucking do it. And he's just so refined and marketable and impressive. So Paulie, so Rocky doesn't know about this yet, but they have picked him out because of his nickname, the Italian Stallion. They're like, I want this guy. This guy's got a cool name. It's kind of like, African American versus Italian American. It's kind of like, this kind of immigrant mentality. Kind of let's fucking come together. This is what America's all about. Let's the fucking go, right? So Rocky shows up. It's Thanksgiving. He rocks up. This is 5 weeks before the fight. It's Thanksgiving. He rocks up because Paulie's like, I'll make Adrian go on a date with you, which seems fucking weird, right? So he goes in. Adrian doesn't know about this. She's made a turkey for Paulie because it's fucking Thanksgiving. And then Paulie's like, oh yeah, you got to go on a date with Rock. She's like, what? And she goes off to his room and he starts screaming. I'm like, I've seen Paulie in the other flicks and he's like this kind of likable guy. And I'm like, I'm not liking this guy. This guy's a fucking asshole. And he's totally abusive. Like on that kind of abuse scale of like green, yellow, and amber, like he's fucking red. He's off the fucking charts. He's abusing poor Talia Shire as Adrian in this. Like, no wonder she's so fucking shy. This guy's a crazy asshole. He goes in, gets the turkey, takes off a leg, fucks the rest in the street. Adrian's in there, Rock's all over there, like, hey man, you want to go on a date with me? You want to go out with me? It might be nice, man. And I'm like, you fucking strong arming this girl. You are really not giving this girl an out, is what I'm saying, right? Yes, it could look like she's consenting to it. Yes, she's maybe shy and you think she needs to get out of her shell, but this does not. It for me doesn't hold up. I would not say totally that she was, she seems pressured into going out with him. Anyway, Rocky's like, what does she like? Paulie's like, she likes ice skating, so they go ice skating, right? He gives him like a fucking, gives the ice rink guy 10 quid so they can skate for 10 minutes. I also realized Paulie is Bobby Bacala Sr. in fucking Sopranos. The guy who does the hit and when he's on his death's door. Anyway, Adrian is strong-armed, goes on a date with Rocky. And they go ice skating, and we kind of get to know them a bit. She's a bit shy. They bond over being told that they had one thing, so she'd work on another. Rocky said, "Oh, I didn't have the brains. I got to work on the body." And she's like, "That's so interesting. I was told I didn't have the body. I had to work on the brains." And this is the kind of scene. This is the bit now that they realize that they can actually offer each other aspects of the personality. They are kind of from two different worlds, but they can kind of offer a lot to each other. There's a lovely kind of callback to this moment where he's like, yo, we fill the gaps in each other, you know? And you think, what, is Rocky just talking about fucking getting his hole? And he's like, no, we fucking fill gaps. We fucking fill. You stop doing the voice. We fucking fill, oh. Also, this whole flick, I was like, this is fucking Brad Leon from fucking It's Alive with Brad. I don't know if you watched that, Bon Appetit. If you are into Bon Appetit, I'm going to talk to you for a second about that, right? Bon Appetit's been kicking off because Bon Appetit, I'm going to talk about this for 1 second, right? I'm going to keep this to 2 minutes, skip ahead if you've no interest in this, right? Condé Nast is a travel magazine in the United States, right? Real fucking highbrow. They do all art and all this shit, right? They have this highbrow food magazine called Bon Appetit, right? It was kind of falling out of favor. Obviously, publishing's not that very interesting. In the last 5 years, though, the YouTube channel took the fucking world by storm. It's very popular. They have loads of celebrity guests on it. It's a real fucking who's who. And they also have this kind of multicultural, diverse cast of cooks in the test kitchen, and they're all very personable, all very likable. They all show off their various recipes. Brad Leon is one. You've got a guy called Andy Bergani. You got Chris Morocco. You got Claire Saffitz, who you might have seen if you've ever been scrolling through YouTube. You saw Gourmet Chef makes Pop-Tarts, Gourmet Chef makes Reese's Nutrageous bars, or whatever it might be. You might see these kind of videos. They're very popular videos on YouTube, these Bon Appetit videos, right? And their editor-in-chief, amidst all the Black Lives Matter movement the last couple of weeks, a photo of him resurfaced of him in quote unquote brown face. He was kind of dressed as a kind of Mexican Latino gangster, right? He was given the sack. Also, various people accused him of racism or favoring some of the white people. Also, what happened is one of the Bon Appetit chefs, Sola El Waleli, right? Again, I'm only going to talk about this for 1 more minute. She said that, and she is like kind of Southeast Indian, kind of Asian, I think, descent, right? She said that all the people of colour who feature in the Bon Appetit videos weren't getting paid. Only the white actors were getting paid. Claire Saffitz, who does all the gourmet makes, gets paid 20 grand an episode. Now, she deserves that, but none of the other ones. Your one, Sola, was only getting paid 50 grand as kind of an assistant kind of chef in this whole thing, even though she was in pretty much every video and helping people out doing all this stuff, right? And then, right, Andy, right, Alex Delaney, who's one of the other guys, he's a kind of drinks editor there. A video resurfaced of him doing a Vine called How to Piss Off Gay People, and he points at a bundle of sticks, aka, sorry to use the word, but that's what it's called, a faggot, right? A bundle of sticks, and he's like, hey, look at the faggot on the ground. I'm sorry to use the word, right? But he shouldn't be fucking Eamon Ryan. I shouldn't even be fucking using this word. Anyway, the bad gay F word, right? He said that, and it's not even like he was trying to use the word. The video was called How to Piss Off Gay People, so he's trying to antagonize. Anyway, Andy, who is gay and a person of colour, he said, Alex, I can't believe you fucking said that shit. And considering the fact that Sola had said all this shit and then got everyone behind her, he did a kind of similar thing, and he was like, Alex, I can't believe you said this shit. You need to fucking apologise. And then by him putting his head above the parapet, he was then accused of stifling another person of colour, well, a Korean person, right? Person of colour, a Korean editor who had her stories removed because Andy said he didn't want any stories published in Bon Appetit about Anthony Porowski, the chef from Queer Eye, right? So they have a fucking rivalry going on. Look, if you're into this shit, you're into this shit. I'm mad into this shit, and I really want to know what Anthony and Andy Bergani, how they fucking had a conflict there, you know? So anyway, this fucking woke ass fucking foodie channel that I love is fucking imploding from the inside. Anyway, back to Rocky the film. So, what we got? They're going ice skating. Like she still seems quite intimidated with all this, you know? Like she says, I don't belong here. Oh yeah, so she goes back to his place and she's like, I don't want to be here. I don't belong here, And, and she's like, I don't think I know you well enough. I'm not comfortable. He starts blocking the door. And that's a fucking Louis C.K. move. That is the thing you can't defend about Louis C.K. if you ever were trying to defend him. But when with all these things you talk about him fucking wanking, and it's all like, as soon as it's like, he blocked the door, it's like, oh right, so he was doing that sort of shit. That's the vibe he was giving off, right? If he was blocking the door, that's the kind of fucking, I don't mean be fucking throwaway about sexual assault, but you know what I mean. He's blocking the door, and it's like, if you're blocking the door, that means that you're not giving this girl an out here to get out of the gaff. And then. He starts kissing her. She doesn't even want to do it, but then she kind of kisses back. Like, is he not strong-armed her? Has Sylvester Stallone not kind of strong-armed Adrian here? But also, she did seem really shy, and it kind of seems like she didn't think that he really wanted to. Like, she thought it was a bit of a trick, And look, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying that you go block a door because the woman you want to be with is shy, right? You don't go fucking doing that. But, right, there are people, and this is not an example of it. This is not an example of it. But there are people, right? There are people who, are in your life that you think, right, I just shouldn't interfere. I shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't do anything. And it's people who, as they're getting older, they're kind of like, oh, I just don't drive anymore. I'm just scared. I just don't drive. I'm just terrified of the road, or oh, I just don't like to be near dogs anymore. I used to love dogs. Now I'm scared of dogs, and you're kind of like, okay, right. I fucking respect you, or they're like, oh, I just don't fly anymore. So I just don't travel and I just don't leave, and like, there's people who just kind of, and we just, you want to respect people's decisions and people's boundaries, but there's also like, there's small decisions people make out of convenience that can easily become neuroses that go unchecked, right? I'm not saying Adrian's an example of this. I think, to be perfectly honest, Rock, you should have respected Adrian not really wanting to kiss you. Now, on the other side of that, she seems to fucking love you, and it seems it's a very endearing, loving relationship after this point. But, she might be a spinster the rest of her life. Like, you can't quite do that, that is not the method of doing that. But I would say maybe we should interfere more in people's lives. Not in this way, but it got me thinking about people who probably just need a handout. People who just like, I know you don't like being out. I know you just love being cooped up with your partner, right? Or alone, right? And you don't want to come out. It would be, how do you phrase it? It would be really great if you just fucking came out. It would be really good if you were there, right? I think it'd be great for us, Should you interfere? Should you not interfere? A topic for another day. But you know what I mean? Some people just have these, they can easily make their world very, very, very small, and should you, like, small to the point of, like, they don't leave the house, and then all of a sudden that's normal. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, sure. So, yeah, this is when someone outside is jive talking to Rocky. He's like, hey, Mick, hey, I'm not doing a voice. I'm not doing the voice. He says, Rocky, Mickey's looking for you, Jack. Powerful scene here where Mickey confronts Rocky, right? And he was like, because you could have been someone, and you fucking sold it off to some two-bit loan shark. And I'm like, this is fucking unreal. Like, the whole fucking boxing gym comes to a standstill. They're all staring at Rock, right? Yeah, Stallone rocks up to Creed's office. So I was like, yeah, Creed wants to talk to you. They assume because he's in Philly, he needs a sparring partner. So he goes in there and he's like, just let you know, I'm good at sparring partner. I wouldn't throw any cheap punches neither. I'm very much available. Like, he's real desperate for the money. You know what I mean? And then he's like, no, Rocky. He wants to fight you for the world title. And he's like, no. He just says no. Like, there's so many, and this is the thing that maybe Robert Redford would have done different, and maybe Stallone. Maybe there's elements of this that I think Stallone is an incredible actor in this, but it's the quietness that he does. It's the same thing that he does, and it's kind of like the stuff he doesn't do. It's just like fucking. He's almost like fucking dead. Like, he's fucking dead behind the eyes. He's like, in the same way, it's like, Mickey says all this shit to him about doing the, wanting to be, being a fucking loan shark, and Rocky doesn't do it, and he's dead behind the eyes. And then, what was I saying? Yeah, and then this guy in Apollo Creed's office is all like, we want you to do it. And he's like, no. And again, just dead behind the eyes. He's like, even when he's overwhelmed, he seems to just shut down. And I love it. I think it's a great choice, or just within the scope of what Stallone is able to do. Either way works for me, and I love it. He eventually says yes. And then they're watching the conference on the TV. Rock's wearing a woolly jumper. Adrian's hand is on his back. And like, he looks genuinely elated when he goes on TV. He's like, yo, Adrian, it's me, Rocky. Like, of all this, like, Apollo Creed's giving us most eloquent, I want to give a guy a chance. I'm going to hear on the birth of our nation, like, yo, Adrian, it's me, Rocky. And I just think it's fucking unreal. Paulie is like proper abusive. Like, he comes back in then around Christmas and he's properly abusive, right? He comes in, he's like smashing shit with his fucking bat. I'm skipping ahead. There's already bits here. There's like a bit where Rocky's like, punching the meat and stuff, and that's a big iconic scene. He's got the stairs, and the music in this. Obviously, the music in this is absolutely incredible, and it is the biggest source of letting me know how I want to feel. Because this film is kind of understated. Like, it doesn't really say love Paulie or love Rocky. It's all very complicated relationships, and it's like you don't just it shows it. It's just fucking you're just watching it. You're just watching the situation. Anyway, sure. Paulie is proper abusive, like asshole. I wrote here they should have taken away his Oscar. Paulie, asshole. In fact, I think all baddies should have their Oscars rescinded. Heath Ledger, get rid of his. Daniel Day-Lewis, get rid of his. No baddies, I think. That's the new world, 2021, what we need. No baddies. Take away all the baddies Oscars, is what I think. So Mickey comes to visit and pitch himself as a manager. And this is the thing, like Mickey... Like, I thought Mickey was already on side, and that's the other thing about this. It's kind of complicated. You're like, if this film was made now, Adrian would be fucking Emma Stone or someone, you know? I don't know, Creed or whatever, Tessa Thompson, but you know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have anyone looking like how Talia Shire does in the first scene, you know? Like that, with the bags and everything under her eyes. She's fucking incredible. Talia Shire's incredible. Like, she plays a completely different character in this, and Godfather 1's a completely different character, and the kind of, like, defeated... kind of family person, you know, in Godfather 2. Like, Talia Shire's unreal. Oh, and fucking Godfather 3, she's like unreal as well. But Mickey in this, you're like, I don't know if I can support this guy. Like, this guy wasn't on Rock's side from the very start. He's kind of getting in. Like, the loan shark's actually arguably been nicer to him. Mickey kicked his shit out, you know? But Mickey's kind of like, you realize he's treating Rocky the way he was treated, you know? Like, you know... Well, actually, no, that's not true. Because he takes out a picture of him and he's like, yeah, this was me, Rock. I can fucking go, Rock. You know? And like, he looks like fucking Kid Mo. Like, I realized, you know, you rewatch stuff and you're like, oh my God, that's where The Simpsons got this whole thing from. He seems very opportunistic, though. You know, by today's standards, you know, we would believe, you know, he'd want to be this sage, old, wise man. But in this, he's kind of like, realizes Rock's going for a title and he's like, I'll fucking manage you, you know? And you're like, you know, fucking trying to skim off the top here. But the fucking the monologue by Rocky here is amazing. Like, and he can't say it to Mickey's face. He's still intimidated. That's the thing. He's just got a fucking heart of gold. He's intimidated by everyone. He's intimidated by the loan shark. He's intimidated by Adrian at first. He's, you know, kind of intimidated by Paulie a lot of times. Like, Paulie kind of gets one over him. He's kind of like a bit shy and kind of mutters under his breath to the barman who's kind of slagging off Apollo Creed, you know, at the bar. He's intimidated by the reporter. He's intimidated by fucking Mickey, you know? And like... And it's just a great monologue of him being like, where's my fucking shot, huh? Where's my shot? And that was great. Mickey hears it on the stairs, leaves. Rocky then goes and says, actually, do you know what? Please, yeah, I do need your help. Then Rocky chases after him. Rocky's breaking fucking eggs off the side of the glass. Do you know you're actually supposed to break them on a flat surface? Do you know that? You're meant to break them off the flat surface. Do you know that, did you? I'll be contrarian. You know, it's supposed to be you get your shell in there. He doesn't seem to matter though, because he cracks 6 eggs and actually drinks it hard as nails, man. We did that on a scavenger hunt, and Omar actually had to do that. I didn't do that, my cousin Omar. He goes out in his sweats, the famous sweats, and he's running around. And it looks great. The stairs of the art museum in Philly, he's there. He can barely make it up the stairs. He's punching meat, you know. He says he's celibate. He says he's got to be celibate for this thing. Mickey says women weaken legs, right? And I think that's still a thing. I don't know if there's any science to that, but you see UFC fighters doing it. I have it, and I think that the whole thing, like, I do it, to be perfectly honest. Like, I try not to wank before a comedy gig, to be perfectly honest, you know? And I don't think that's real. But I'd probably be like, Terry, stop undressing me with your eyes. Stop trying to get your leg over. I'm playing fucking cat laughs, you know? I'm playing the fucking Vodafone. I'm playing a sugar club, hopefully when all this lifts. Spirit store in Dundalk, you know what I mean? Fucking Cavan's in Portlaoise. Stop trying to ride me. I'm celibate for these couple of weeks, right? If I want to have a good gig. And I wonder if that's where it came from. So while Rocky is training, Apollo is all chatting finance, you know, like he's kicking, beating, and this is all the body punch, and they keep saying, like, if you do that, you know, he's like, you're breaking the ribs of these cows, you know, and it's all fucking hard as nails, it's fucking unreal. And the bloody fists and stuff that he pulls his hands away from just looks awesome, and it's like cold, you know, like he's just fucking... It's fucking Grecian and how he's trying to just suffer. It's incredible. Then the music, right? And I thought, this is the montage. This is the proper montage. The da 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 da. And he's like running. And he's fucking building up speed. And the legs are knees up through his fucking chest. And you think he's fucking we're breathing fucking fumes. And then she fucking runs up. He's doing the fucking one-handed push-ups. It's cut between that. This is an incredible montage. And given the hype of this montage, I thought it was going to be longer. It's only about 60 seconds, right? I realize now I'm not going to be able to talk about Demolition Man. I'm going to save that for another week, right? I'm already talking too long. I shouldn't have brought up fucking AI, right? And that fucking ridiculous name drop corner. But the fucking music, man. Like, I thought this montage was going to go on for like 15 minutes because it's so iconic. But anyway, gets to the he rocks up at the venue, right? It's his day to fight, and he's in there, and he's just looking at everything. He's looking at the scope of it. He's looking at the fucking 40-foot tall painted Apollo Creed. He looks over to the other side, sees a 40-foot painted Rocky Balboa, but then he notices that Rocky's got the wrong shorts. And then I don't know if he's a villain. Like, he seems like a nice enough guy, but then the guy who's like, you know, the kind of Don King, you know, Apollo Creed's booker, is like this white guy with a carnation in his like his breast pocket. And he's wearing these red leather gloves, and he seems like a baddie, right? But he doesn't do anything bad. He's, you know, it's a, you know, interesting style choice. And he's, you know, I really wear white shorts with a red trim. They're red shorts with white. And the guy just ignores him, right? And he's like, "You're gonna put on a great show, Rock," you know. But Rocky's like, fucking, like, I'm trying to get some semblance of control here. Like, I'm trying to just get some control. Can you please change the poster? You know, like, I'm so in over my depth. And it's like, fuck, Rocky is fucked, right? And the whole thing is, and this is the thing, I just said it again. Like, another situation where Stallone, as I'm just looking at my notes, I'm like, he says it again. Stallone just does so much with the kind of stillness. It's kind of like the opposite of Demolition Man, which I'll talk about another week, right? It's just like he's intimidated. You know, he gets bad news, he gets overwhelmed. It's all the same kind of stillness, and it's all this kind of bubbling, you know. But it's not even like, it's not anger. He just takes it. That's the thing. He just takes it. Like, in the same way, he's trying to go 15 rounds, right? That's the whole thing. No, he's like, "Oh, I know if I can go 15 rounds, I'm not a bomb from Philly." You know, he's saying that to Adrian. You know, or Paulie. I don't remember who he says it to, but it's not even about him. He's not like angry, you know, because he explodes when he doesn't. He explodes when someone says shit. You know, someone says shit about Adrian, you know, early on, and he freaks. It's not like It's not like when Michael Corleone, you know, something happens to him. He sees his father's been shot, and he can just see the fucking flames. Like, it's almost like he can see a cross section, and his head is on fire. Rock's not like that, right? He's just kind of he fucking takes it. This is a man who's been taking shit since the fucking day he was born. And again, they're at the fight anyway. Rocky walks out. They almost miss it. No one even notices. No one even mentions he's there. He walks out. Apollo comes out dressed as George Washington throwing cash, dressed as the lads in Queer Eye in the latest season of Queer Eye when they're in Philly. They're all dressed like this kind of three-corner hat. He dresses like George Washington, and then immediately he has a completely different outfit, and he's dressed like Uncle Sam. And he's like, I want you. Like, he's selling the show. He's selling America. We love Apollo Creed. Apollo Creed is preoccupied with his hair. And Paulie is sitting next to some absolutely scorching bird. I don't know how he pulled this bird. Stay, Paulie. Anyway, round one, right? Round one, it's like, okay. And like, Apollo's like treating it like it's a sparring session. He's like, jab, 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 jab. Like, fucking stay over there. Like, this is just, I'm doing a kind of fancy footwork, Ali. Then Rock just fucking, boom, uppercut, knocks him on his fucking ass. Apollo Creed's never been knocked down, right? Never been knocked down. First time forever, bitch. He's just been fucking knocked down. Then at the end of the round, right? Rock's nose is fucking broken. Right? Apollo Creed's never been knocked down. Rock's nose has never been broken. He's had 64 fights. He's never got my nose broken. Pretty proud of that. He says that to Adrian earlier on, right? And he got his fucking nose broken. And then round two, you know, round one, Apollo comes back and like seriously fucking lays into him. Round two, Rock's more or less on top. Then it's kind of like a montage. Then it skips fucking 13 rounds, which I didn't really like, right? I have seen Creed, right? I like the fact that you actually, I mean, get into the fight. Come on, you know what I mean? Like, the fight choreography's good. Just let me see it, you know? Stallone, I think, also did the fight choreography. Round 14, the music is swelling. Rocky is knocked down. Mickey says, stay down, stay down. The music is getting bigger. The fucking this is when I get the fucking biggest reaction right now watching this. Rocky gets back up, body shot, body shot, body shot. Both lads are absolutely fucking battered. They stay at him. Rock is like, cut me, fucking cut me. I can't see out there. Cut me, which has also been parodied like a million times. Cut me. So he cuts his eye like, ugh. I need to stop this fight and I'll kill you. And then he goes up and then part of the game plan. This is what I want to see. The game plan. I love that film Warrior, right? I love the Warrior. I don't even remember if the game plan was in that. Warrior with fucking Tom Hardy and your man, another Egerton. Great flick. As good as this flick, I'd say. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Body shot, body shot, body shot. And then, like, this is the whole plan. And then it's like, he's fucking laying it. Apollo saved by the bell. And then Apollo's like, ain't going to be no rematch. I don't want no rematch, right? and then the music's on, and it's like, you know, it's like the proper fucking music, and like Adrian, and they're like they're saying who won, and like it was a split decision, and Rocky can't even hear it. Rocky doesn't even hear the result. He doesn't care. All he wants to do is see Adrian, and he's like, I love you too, and he has a hand up. What a flick. I will say it's the last. It is the fight. It's the fight and the end that gets me, right? I might just watch the fight scene and the ending on fucking movie clips on YouTube for the foreseeable. But what a flick, right? But I will say this, right? It kind of, well, see, this is why I like watching movies with my wife, because she explains things to me, and then I can steal her point of view, right? I had said after that, I was like, it kind of doesn't feel earned or gratified, because I didn't think his life seemed that bad. Even the fucking loan shark gave him 500 quid before the fight and was like, hey, thanks, Rock, I love you. Like, it seems like a fucking legend. It seems like a nicer guy than Mickey, you know? He doesn't seem like his life is too bad, right? But now, after talking it out here to you now and having a day to kind of percolate on it before I gave it a plunge, it is the fact that he has just eaten so much shit, punches included, and he can just show how much shit a guy can eat. That's it. You know, how a guy can just keep fucking getting back up. That's what it's about. And I'm sure, you know, and it's a great flick. I'd love to talk about Demolition Man, but I realize now I've been talking for an hour and a half, right? And I haven't even edited this down. It's probably going to be a bit longer, sound cues included. But hey, if you like me talking about movies, guess what? I talk about movies over on my Patreon. I've also talked about my top emo tracks of all time. I've talked about my favorite toys of all time. I have talked about stories of some of the worst jobs I've ever had. I do regular Q&As. I can add you to my close friends group on Instagram. Post things just for people on close friends on Instagram. If you think that's cool, you think cool, man. If you think that's something you'd be interested in, it's only $5 a month. I'd love to have you on there. At the moment, there's probably just over 20 podcasts that you can listen to right now if you pay a $5. So check that out. If you don't like it, you don't have to continue for a second month. It's entirely up to you. In the meantime, thank you very much. I'll be back next week for not only my review of Demolition Man, what a life I lived, that I can just say that, but also getting my tarot read. Tarot, my friend is a tarot card reader. I'm going to ask her to put me in touch with the realm of the seed. And I'm going to get on here, pull a fucking greener, and let you know about the lady with the 3 cups. I'm still here. Goodbye.